to Season 2 here at Japan in Tier 3. I am joined once again by CCRL Senna. I am ERL Viper 9. Senna, say hello to all the viewers.
Good evening, everyone. Hope everyone's all good.
I would hope they all are in qualifying here. Obviously, at the moment we've got just Kings out on track. He'll be the first one to set a lap. We've got the Rebel of Hunted behind Young House on a lap as well. If I'm not mistaken, Young House promoted from F4 now into F3. Is that correct, Senna?
Yep, he took my place as I had my first race in F4 on Sunday. Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yep. So talk about your race in F4. Obviously, I was in the chat during qualifying. Talk us through your race. I missed that one personally, so I don't know exactly what happened, sadly. But how did your race go?
Not great. Bottom qualifying. Should have been like a 28.8 or 28.9 or something. Then I was like 4. And then, as some of you guys might have seen me on my stream, too busy looking at the chat sometimes. I was doing the stream and going off all over the place. Somehow I missed a couple of few spinning cars, and then I hit the wall and getting damage looking at my chat. So I ended up being 9th as my in-game penalties, but I'm hoping to do a lot better next week in the last race. Brazil, Japan's always a weak track for me. And I saw your race yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, we're not going to talk about that. That race was something different, but
I saw bits of it, but I definitely saw the ending.
Yeah, I mean, I was quick on that exit button, and anyway,
yeah, I was
into hopefully better conditions and sort of more interesting things. Here comes Kings now. He's in the second sector. Obviously, as said earlier, he is the first to complete a flying lap. As long as this is valid, it will be the benchmark for all the guys that are behind him on track. And yeah, this track, its track position is quite important. If you're really fighting for the win, you need to be the car ahead. It's very difficult to get past. So qualifying is very important. Kings now through the final chicane, doesn't cut it. The inside of that second part of it, obviously you can cut that and gain an awful lot of time, but Kings does not. 29.1 is the benchmark for all the guys that are behind him. Tom 76 F1 will be the next to cross the line. He's got a Renault behind him, I believe, of Paita potentially, who's quite close. See what Tom can do as he comes across the line. Quite a wide line through the final corner, 31.5 for him. I think that's Paita just starting a lap behind him. Or no, Paita backing out of a lap that he's invalidated there. We'll see what XBL can do now. A few other guys are going to come across the line shortly, but we'll ride on board with XBL, see what he can manage in this middle sector at the moment. Coming towards Spoon, Young House making his debut look quite good so far, up on provisional pole. Quite a margin out of Kings as XBL there. Small mistake through Spoon, not going to cost him too much time, but will sort of hurt his run. Coming towards 130, Toro Rosso getting out of the way very nicely. Is it going to be for XBL in the Haas? Final chicane. Very nice on the curbs. They're not using them too much. Cross line he goes, and it's marginally quicker than Young House, 1,000th of a second. See what Dan can do. Right on board with Dan for a flying lap here. He's got XBL in the way, but hopefully XBL get out of the way nicely, just like Dan did for him. Through turn one we go. XBL still on the racing line. If I was down there, I'd be a little bit annoyed. He's politely let XBL through on his lap, and XBL's been a little bit naughty, but doesn't like it's cost Dan too much time as he comes towards the first of the Degners. Not using any of that exit curb. It's going to cost him a little bit of time, but just obviously start of Q1, don't really want to take too many risks, and just making sure he gets a lap time on the board. So if you run out wide there, it can do one or two things. One, can invalidate a lap time if you're too far over the curb, or two, can unsettle the car and put you in the wall. So Dan not really wanting to take too many risks with those track limits, and continuing on at the moment. Looks like a better run for him through Spoon than XBL did. Sorry to interrupt there, Senna.
That's it. I could see the new driver, Summer Sport up in fourth, new driver. Young House is up there as well, just to prove that he's got Aaron is right back in F3. Pite is back as well. Plus, I did send you a screenshot of the championship, as we all know that
Yep.
Spursy is 9 points clear of Webber, can win the title tonight.
There goes Dan. Dan is a 10th and a half ahead of XBL there, so despite that little bit of a block in that first sector, Dan's showing his pace, showing why he is a championship contender, or was. I can't remember if he still is. I think he had a poor Singapore, didn't he? So
he didn't finish, did he? So just double check. I know he didn't finish. He is 45 points behind. He needs to win both races, and the other two guys basically DNF, so it's very unlikely that he's gonna win the title.
So still mathematically in the in a title hunt, but just after his incident last week, I remember what it is, but we won't talk too much about it. After that incident, he has found himself in a very difficult position. Avoki comes across the line, I think, just missed that there to set a 1 minute 30.0. So field spread is a bit of a thing here at the moment. Got 28.4 dropping all the way down to a 31.5. Just sort of shows the way in which this track really is. Some people love it, some people hate it. Personally, me, I enjoy driving it as just as a circuit, but I don't like racing at it. It's not one that I particularly enjoy. But for these guys, it looks like the guys at the top, it's a good one for them, and those who are a little bit further down, either a mistake on their laps or it's not one that they are particularly comfortable at. Hunted, they're very strong through the deck. There's a small mistake on the exit of the second one on the track sheet. He's got two cars out, in one car being his teammate, possibly giving a little bit of a tow, and another, I believe, of a Renault.
Elephant's off the S's, and he's just got a damaged wing. Luckily, he's not lost a wheel. Just on board with him. He's lost it in the S's, so he's going to have to get back in the pits. Not good for him.
Avoki, the two Red Bulls here, Hunted obviously on the lap and Avoki ahead. Avoki not really helping his team out at all.
Right, he's been kind of stuck in a bit of traffic.
Blocked a little bit through Spoon, yeah. The Renault, I believe, of Paita has dips in the pits. The Renault of Paita not in the way at all. Just the Red Bull of Avoki being a little bit cheeky to his teammate, not moving out of the way when he realistically should have done. And that's going to cost Hunter a little bit of time as he goes across the line. Does beat his teammate, 29.5, puts him ahead of Summer Sport as well. So, see what. So Paita's gone into the pits actually. Got who's that? That's gone across the line. Got Avoki starting a lap, but he's very wide through turn one. Edu now. Edu is in the middle sector here on the run through this. It's not really a straight, but it's flat out. So near enough a straight into Spoon we go. Going down just 2 gears, I believe there. Short shift up from third to fourth. Now the run towards 130R and the final couple corners of the lap. So it's not a particularly long lap, this one. It's a relatively short track, but certain aspects of it, like the S's for example, and the hairpin, sort of slow the time down a little bit, sort of helping us to reach that sort of 1 minute 30, 1 minute sort of 28, 29 mark. As there goes Edu across the line, 1 minute 29.085. That should see him comfortably through into Q2. See what Spursy can do. Obviously he is the one in the championship fight. He's the leader at the moment, I believe. So you were saying earlier, Senna.
Yeah, Spursy is the champion, leading by 9 points ahead of Webber.
Dan retires from the session, comfortable in P1, but I don't think there's going to be anyone that's really going to throw him out. He's going to need a lot of drivers to beat him. As Spurs are very tight in that final corner, 29.0, just pipping Edu there for P5. Both those two will be through, and everyone ahead should, in theory, be comfortably through. Rakyak still needs to get a flying lap in here. I think he's on one at the moment. and Elephant and Dips, neither of those two setting times.
Not quite yet. Thank you, G4F1, for following the channel. Thank you for joining us. 18 people already on the stream. Thank you very much.
So, Rakyak here, obviously one of 3 guys yet to set a representative lap time. Rakyak himself, having completed one other than a 1 minute 57, he's going to need to improve on that if he wants to see himself through. He's very wide off to the gravel almost, out of the exit of Spoon. And I think, yeah, he's down into Nunny RS. He's backed out of his lap. Looks like Dips is taking it sort of quite patient in this qualifying session. I think he's on his way out right now. Yes, he is. So he's not really... is that Dips, or is that... I think yes, it is Piter. So Dips... Yeah, so Dips really taking his time here. I wouldn't be doing that personally. At a track like this, you want to get your lap in nice and early. But whilst track evolution is a thing, it's nice to have that lap time on the boards earlier in the session, so that there's not quite as much pressure on you. You don't have to take as many risks, and you can focus on getting that lap time in. CCRL Jake, I think he's on an in lap, and Kings as well. So I think this is sort of that phase where everyone's just either on an out lap or on their way into the pits, having completed their laps. So not really much going on. We'll see what Tom is doing, although he's, I think, backed out of his lap as well. If not, he's on an in lap. So not too much action going on at this late phase in qualifying, although we will see a bit of action begin to pick up as guys towards the back more or less hunted downwards. I would have thought P10 down to P17, see them out in the next, say, 30 seconds to a minute, as they look to set their lap times. Avoki, I believe, just coming out on track, and hunted as well. So the 2 Red Bulls need to get themselves a little bit higher up the order. New man of Summer Sport, he's in a little bit of a danger zone. He's obviously P11. It's not the worst place to be in, but you don't have that security that you would if you're sort of like where Kilbro is, Edu, Spursy, where they're just that little bit further ahead. They've got that advantage, more cars between themselves and those in P16 and 17. So Tom 76 here, P14, just a couple places ahead of the drop zone, and just beginning his what should be the final lap of the session. His teammate of XBL retires from the session. There's a small mistake there from Thompson that cost him a little bit of time. This first sector, horrifically difficult on a pad. The line isn't perfect, you're going to lose an awful lot of time, and I think Tom's experiencing that a little bit. Towards the hairpin he comes, needs to focus on the exit here, doesn't want to lose the back end at all. Looks like it's been a good run now as he comes towards Spoon.
Yeah, Tom is definitely struggling a bit. He's low on fuel. I think it's probably his last run. Go around Spoon curb, and definitely under some pressure. Because Dips is still in the pits, so I hope he's coming out. And
I imagine we can see him out about the 2 minute mark.
So they could beat Tom, so
yeah.
Tom needs to get a lap in.
Yeah, there's a few that are leaving it quite late to get their laps on the board. Obviously we saw Elephant, he was out earlier in the session, but as you picked up on in that first sector, easy to lose it, and he did so. Into the barrier he went, and that was his lap done and dusted. But Tom there, small improvement, but maybe not going to be quite enough. He's got Avoki, Rakyak, Elephant and Dips all behind him that could throw him down a position or two. Keep on board with those further down the order who really need to get themselves promoted a little bit in this order here. There's Rakyak, I think he is on the lap, yeah.
Yeah, I've just been watching him on a lap, come through the hairpin. Well, obviously he's going to improve on that 157 if he gets a lap together.
Yeah, Dips is still in the pits. Is he possibly serving a qualifying ban? Or is he maybe just starting last?
I have no idea, to be honest. I don't think anybody's got a qualifying ban.
Others did yesterday.
I don't think anybody's got a qualifying ban. I have no idea.
Right. That's a bit of an interesting one. He's not gonna have enough time now to get out of the session, meaning that it's only Elephant that's gonna be able to knock people down here. So Rakyak, Avoki, and Tom might just about be safe if Elephant doesn't complete a lap, although he is on a lap at the moment. Rakyak across the line, P4, comfortable. No chance of him getting knocked out now. It's a good job from Rakyak, 28.780 for
Yeah,
him.
very good lap.
Yep, Elephant now, I don't think he's on, no, he's backed out of his lap, so he's starting another one on this set of tyres. We'll ride on board for this lap to just see what he can manage. A lot of pressure on him now. If no improvement on what Avoki's done, he's going to be out in Q1, so coming towards turn 1, DRS open, got to be careful spotting the braking point. 50 metre board is your turn in reference. Come now into exit of turn 1, turn 2 technically I think if you're going by technicalities. Now into the S section, very difficult set of corners. Navigating it reasonably well so far. A little bit of trouble on the gearbox there, sort of dropping it down again and now into upshift again. Maybe costing him a little bit of time now towards the deck as we go over that inside curb, using that outside curb nicely. Inside curb to the second part, not using any of the curb on the exit. Now up towards the hairpin we go. Braking point just after that that curb with a kink on the right hand side. Now the run down to Spoon, keeping it tight to the right hand side. Careful not to make any mistakes. It's easy to run wide here and invalidate the lap time. A little bit of understeer for Elephant there, and it's going to compromise his exit a little bit as he had to correct and sort of adjust his line. Now coming towards 130R, flat corner here, but easy to run wide and lose the lap time if you're just not paying attention enough. But Elephant keeping it tight to the left hand side. Now over the inside curb, both of them not using any of the inside curb at the second part, and now keeping it relatively tight as he comes towards the line. Is it going to be enough? P12 for him, and he is through. Avoki not out on track. Elephant sees himself up into P12, through to Q2 for him, and Summer Sport is safe. Tom 76 just out getting through. 7 thousandths of a second separating him from Avoki. Avoki not being able to improve at the end there to see himself into Q2. Avoki and Dips both out in Q1.
Yeah, sadly Dips never even come out of the pits, maybe he's very busy, I don't know. And then sadly Avoki was quite high up at the start of the season, just must not been able to get a lap together really, because even for F3 you would have been doing 130, so I don't think Tom really got a good lap together either. But
yeah, I think it's that sort of track where some people struggle at. Yeah, there's, as I said earlier, there's many that love this circuit. There's many that don't, and I imagine the likes of Avoki and Tom towards the bottom end. We've seen them higher up throughout the season, and I imagine it's more of a difficult one for those guys. So there we see confirmation. Avoki and Dips both out of the session. P16 for Avoki, P17 for Dips, and Tom just scraping through.
Yeah, thank you. I've got 26 people in now. But now Q2 is definitely going to be the more interesting part. I expect the top 10 to get through on the softs, as it's easily soft to mediums. By my own race and seeing the F1 race yesterday. We don't know if it's going to rain or not.
I mean, if it is set to rain in the race, I can well, I'd imagine we'd see everybody on the softs in qualifying. Obviously, not to rule out any rain in the sort of in these two sessions in qualifying. So it's a dry session at the start of Q2, but those clouds above maybe could give us a little bit of rain towards the end of qualifying. I doubt it, but it would make it a little bit interesting for us if it did. Wait to see who comes out first. I need to get the let's have the lap delta up. Don't know why it doesn't allow us to keep those up. But.
So mostly everybody is on softs except for Tom, Kings and Rakyak at the moment, and they've gone for the mediums.
So Hunted is going to be the first one out on track. Let's have a look at the details here. So, Hunted is going to be out first on the soft tyres and Rakiak behind on the mediums. That's a little bit of an interesting call for me personally. I think it's going to be a bit of a push if you want to try and get through on the mediums, especially this early in the session. You have to leave that medium run.
He must be on the medium tyre.
More or less the 5 minute mark.
For a bank on a medium, so he doesn't usually softs up.
Yeah, that is a possibility. Obviously, it's with it being a soft to medium race here. I'd personally use all my sets of softs in qualifying because if you, I'd go softer just based on the fact that if there is a safety car, you're going to be starting on softs anyway. You'd be going on to mediums. There's not really any sort of scenario where you'd need the extra set of mediums. So unless of course you are starting on the medium tyres, at which point another set of mediums might be useful.
Yeah, it could be.
So, it sort of depends where they expect to qualify.
We know that both tyres could go quite a long way, to be honest. Tyre wear doesn't seem to be much of an issue.
Yep. The soft tyres, you can expect to see them go, if needed, go about 14-15 laps quite comfortably. The tyre wear obviously will begin to come into play at the end of the stint, but the softs could go about 15 or so laps, and the mediums could go from lap 2 until the end. So it's not really tyre wear limited, this circuit, more tyre temperature limited, as Hunted at the start of his first run in Q2, off wide into turn 1, high to the next car on track. As he comes through the S section now, very, very smooth through the first part, keeping that rhythm as he comes through what is going to end the S section here, flat out left-hander, very difficult. Do not want to run out onto that outside curve too much because that really can unsettle the car. Now towards the donuts we go. Purple sector 1 as Hunted is off once again, maybe just trying to get out of the way, maybe another mistake from him. Can't really be too certain. He's got cars behind him as well on laps, so he's going to have to get out of the way of them quite quickly. It's Rakiak and the Williams, I believe, that's just going past us. There it is. Paita just drops it on the exit of the hairpin. Yeah, he's been in the wall. That's damage on his front wing. Has Hunted off again. There's a lot of action going on at this hairpin. Hunted off in the gravel, trying to get out of the way, and Paita spinning out. So not great for him. We'll just try and see. So we'll go over to Rakiak, who's actually invalidated his lap time. So it looks like a lot of the guys are struggling in these early stages. Where is Jake? Jake isn't. Well, he's going to be the first one to set a flying lap in this session. A little bit of a surprise to selection. He was like the 4th or 5th car to start a lap, but everyone ahead of him had issues, and we'll see what he can manage, as he's going to be the one to set the benchmark for all these guys. Across the line he goes, and it's a 1:30.3, so slower than what the guys were doing in Q1. As Hunted there, as he starts another lap. 55.8. He's going to need to improve that just a little bit. As Paita goes for quite a similar lap.
Yeah, slow times at the moment. Kings is coming to cross the line on his mediums. Interested to see what these guys can do on mediums. And he's going to do a 29.5.
I wonder if this will beat Jake. Yes, it does. 29.5. Jake, as said, his time not beating what the guys were doing earlier, as that was very, very close between Kings and Edu there. Edu just squeezing between the grass and King's cars. Summer Sport up into provisional pole, a 10th clear as XBL there, 28.666. Devil is his friend, it seems, with that time, but
that was a very good lap.
That should see him comfortably through. Edu fully committed through the Degners there, out very wide on the exit curb, loses the back end ever so slightly as Kilbro goes up into P2. Ferrari off in the gravel trap where we saw Hunted getting out of the way, and I imagine that's much the same from Spursy there, I believe, as we saw the other Ferrari of Kings letting Edu through before turn 1. Edu now in the Mercedes through Spoon, he goes out very wide. That could be invalid. I think he's just about got away with that. Now he's got folks on the exit. Paita on the inside getting out of the way nicely. No toe for Edu there. managed through 130R. Now into final chicane. Yeah, not to cut the inside there too much. Very, very neat so far. Young Howes, F4 into F3, and now he's on provisional pole. 28.5 for Young Howes, his teammate. Eddie on the mediums, 29.6.
So Young Howes is definitely showing that he's got the pace and really wants to do well.
Down across the line, only P3 for him. He had the Haas of Tom ahead of him, although I think Tom was completing a lap. I think possibly down there, just closing in so much being on the faster tyres and getting a little bit dirty out at the end of his lap to that final chicane. This is now the phase where we're going to be seeing everyone on in-laps. Now I don't expect that we'll see many other people really doing much. We've got Rakyat on an outlap and Webber shortly behind, so I think these two will be the next to set flying laps. We're out the way as Rakyat comes through the final corner to set his flying lap. Obviously was out before but invalidated his lap time, came into the pits, and now he is going again. Lovely camera angle through turn one. Just see the speed of the Williams as it goes through the corner.
Yeah, I'm keeping an eye on Webber while you keep an eye on Rakyat, who's just behind Webber's socks.
Yep. Webber should see himself comfortably towards the front of the field. Obviously, I'd personally say he's more tier 2 pace, but purple, interestingly, for Rakyat in sector 1. Obviously, being on the medium tyres, that's a bit of a surprise. I don't know if that is a standard sort of like game glitch where it says purple and it's not really. But for now, we'll treat it as if he is.
Oh, I don't trust the track map anyway.
Deltas, the deltas are what really matters. That's what matters more. The track map can be a little bit distracting almost. It can sort of suggest one thing and that thing could be completely opposite from the truth. Anyway, Rakyat seen to complete his lap. It's been fairly clean from what I've been able to see. Over the bump that shouldn't be there. Cross line he goes. P9, that's not going to be safe. He's going to have to go out onto the softs later on in the session.
Webber goes second at 28.5.
Yeah, so Young Howes, Mr. F4, he's showing his class here in tier 3. Brilliant job from him so far.
Definitely is. Definitely doing well in my Mercedes seat.
Yeah, indeed. We'll have a watch of what Spursy can do here. He's soon to start his lap. Don't think there's many others on a lap. Obviously we've got Rakyat and Webber on in-laps. Then we've got Paita and Hunted on outlaps. Then we've got Spursy here, about to start what I imagine is going to be his only flying lap of the session, provided it is a clean one. Preparing himself now as he comes towards the start-finish straight. DRS open. There it is. Time is ticking.
He's under pressure.
Car's gone up the pits, out of the way nicely. Yeah.
Haven't got a lap together yet, so he needs to nail this lap.
Yes, that's very, very smooth so far. Turn 1 done nicely. Now the S's. This is where it's crucial to get the line right, and he's doing it well so far. The smallest of mistake will disrupt the rhythm through the rest of it. But so far, Spursy navigating this sector 1 beautifully. The run now towards the Degners. Is he going to take much of a risk? He's using the outside curb, not using much of it, but he's using some of it. And none of that outside curb to the second part. Now, the run up the hill into the hairpin. Multiple lines you can take through here. You can keep cut back on yourself for the exit, or you can hug the inside curb and try and sort of like minimise the distance that you're going around the corner. But so far, so good for Spursy as he comes through Spoon. Got to focus on getting a good exit as he's got a few cars ahead of him. Racing Point of Webber out of the way very slowly. Good job he's off the racing line, possibly out of fuel as that Racing Point has he's actually picked up his speed, so I doubt he is. Purple middle sector for Spursy here. Can the Ferrari put himself ahead of that Mercedes?
He's got an Alpha in front of him.
In Q2. Yeah, the Alpha, I believe, of CCRL Jake, who's just starting his lap, is
Oh, it's
ahead.
quickest.
There it is.
28.3. Great lap.
Quickest for Spursy, indeed. Brilliant lap from him, showing the guys how it's done. And Young Howes drops from P1 into P2. We'll have a watch now of what Jake can do. Obviously, he's in P12. He needs to improve. He wants to see himself in Q3. He's had a few issues recently in terms of qualifying.
Well, because Pite, yeah, Pite is
notably last week in
top
Singapore.
10, and he's got himself up to 7.
P7 for Pite. Brilliant job from him, but he's still at risk, I'd say. He's got the likes of Kings, Edu, Tom, Rakyak, Jake.
Yeah, and
These
Hunter's
guys
coming
can
to the
really
end of his
improve.
lap. See if he can get
Hunted
to
as
the
well.
top
He's
10.
one that can put Pite down. Have a quick cut to Hunted as he comes across the line. So going to be P8 doesn't quite beat Pite, so Pite looking almost safe at the moment.
Oh,
As Jake's invalidated.
He's gone too wide. He's going to have to back out.
Yeah, he did. If I'm not mistaken, he did that the last corner last week, which meant that he didn't get into. He didn't get into a position that he should have been in, and obviously it left him susceptible to potential issues into turn 1, and he's invalidated again this week. So he really needs to try and focus on that last lap. Just keep his cool, keep those nerves in a good place. And Tom's one that could knock a few guys down here. Through the final corner he comes. He struggled in Q1. What's it going to be in Q2? Cross line only P9. Once again, marginally off of what Hunter's done, but only marginally ahead of what Summersport has done, who's now down into P10, and he's now in the danger zone. King's on an invalidated lap time. Elephant, as he's just starting his lap, he invalidated his previous one. All these guys with a lot of pressure on them now to get these lap times in.
Yeah, only 2 minutes to go, and at least Tom's improved from his 1:30.0. Bob Ball Jake at the moment is keeping it all together, but yeah, he's got him, Elephant, Ratyak, Apex, and Kings, who was very quick around Singapore after getting drivers down that great battle weather. He's under pressure in 11th place, so a lot of drivers really need to get that lap in now if they want to get into Q3.
Kings, as you say, showed his pace in these last few weeks, and I imagine if he can get this final lap in, he will be up the order. Although, that being said, he did have issues last week in qualifying, started low down, and just showed us the ability that he's got in the race to get through the field. And I would have thought if there is an issue for him in this session, if he doesn't get through, he'll be able to make up for it in the race.
There's been a grid penalty for apparently a collision with Elephant.
Yeah, I noticed that on the map as they came out the hairpin on the run into Spoon. There seems to have been a collision between them.
And Jake's up to 6th. Jake's done it.
Jake puts himself in 6th. That's not necessarily safe. We've got Kilbro on a lap. Kilbro actually is in a little bit of danger now. Not one that I expected to be in that kind of position. I thought we'd see him sort of top 5 quite comfortably, but down in P7, he's got guys that could displace him. Kings, Edu, Rakyak, all could throw something up. Obviously, Elephant, I don't think he's going to get in the lap time because of whatever happened with Edu. Though saying that, Edu as well had an issue, but I think he'll be able to get away with starting a lap. I don't know if he's got damage on the top tyres for the session.
Q3. He's gone 2nd. Just slower than Spursy.
Brilliant lap time from
Ryan.
Kings, there we go.
Kings
showing his pace. 0.2, a 10th faster than his teammate Kilbro. One that I would have expected, as I said, to be higher up. P9. And that's put Jake down into the danger zone now as well.
It has.
So we'll have to see what these guys can do. Obviously, I think Jake's now on an in-lap. He's done 2 laps on those softs, which not ideal, but a track like this, not particularly tyre limited.
Hunter's not been able to go any quicker, so it's all down to Summer. Or Summer's on 0, I think he's out. So it's all, and Eddie can't do a lap, so Kilbro is just going to get into Q3.
Here we go. Kilbro, cross line he goes. Yeah, there it is. As you'd expect from him in the McLaren top 4. Solid job, that's all he needed to do. We'll see what the other guys can do. I think Summersport is on a lap here, so he could displace Hunted, as Kings has a 5-place grid penalty for illegal blocking.
Oh dear. No, Summersport's not on a lap, he's on 0 now, coming out of the hairpin.
Righty then, so maybe he's decided that P11 is the best start position for him. It gives him free choice of tyres, meaning that he can start on that alternative strategy and not have any issues. What's going on with Hunted here? Hunted spun. I'm not sure how he spun there, but he has done. And yeah, I'm a little bit dumbfounded by what's happened with Kings there. Not often I've seen illegal blocking penalties in qualifying.
They're not qualifying,
especially,
no, I'm not seeing that.
Yeah, especially when Rakic himself wasn't on a flying lap. Rakic having just completed his lap to CMP3, Kings having completed his lap to CMP1. Kings obviously being ahead of Rakic on track. And the game's just gone, nope, not having that. And Kings been slapped with a 5-place grid penalty for what I would imagine to be very little reason.
That's very, very unlucky for him, because I'm sure he'd be challenging for pole position in Q3, so he's going to be starting no higher than like 6th position, so I do feel sorry for him.
Yep. It's one of those things. I often wish that the game just wouldn't give penalties like that during qualifying, although it makes sense.
Well, it's happening in real life. He actually blocked
and,
somebody.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. But the issue is, I feel like the game needs to register when people are on an in lap, when they've completed a flying lap, and when they're in like lean and none, not really pushing the car at all. It needs to sort of almost register that it's an in lap. But sadly, it doesn't, and Kings has felt the full force of code masters on that one.
Yeah, definitely.
Hunted now just waiting for the man Red Bull starting. Well, not starting anywhere really. He's P10. He's still in qualifying. Q3 for him, just about. That is Q2 complete. Obviously, 5 drivers knocked out. 10 left to go through into Q3 to fight it out for pole position. There it is. So Kings, as we see there, 5-place penalty for him, and Edu the same.
So Edu is basically going to start last, as he's only 17, so he'll be right at the back in 17th position.
Looking down the order, 5 drivers knocked out: Utah, Elephant, Apex, Edu, Tom 76, Piter, and the new man of Summer Sport starting P11. So yep, Edu obviously will be starting P17. Stone dead last in this race following that penalty. And that'll promote Elephant and the 2 guys who went out in Q1. That'll promote those guys all up a position.
So in the chat, guys, who do you think is going to get pole position and 2nd and 3rd? What do you think, Viper? Who's going to get pole? You know, maybe we could have said Kings, like he could get the quickest lap, he won't get official pole.
What I imagine, I reckon we'll see Kings taking pole position in terms of his lap time, and I imagine we'll see maybe someone like Spursy, his teammate, or even Rakic showing a lot of pace. I feel like those two could be close for that sort of P2, P1 mark. Even they could still beat what Kings does. And Young House one to pick up on there.
Yeah, talk about Rakic. Stringy's gone for Rakic for pole.
Yeah, so talking about Young House, first race in F3 here, and fair play to him into Q3, and he looks fairly comfortable in terms of pace here. So he could be one of the guys to challenge for pole. We'll see if he can manage that. If he can, then yeah, it's insane stuff from him.
Yeah, he's done very, very well. I know he puts more and more practice every week, and he's definitely paying off.
Yep, that is the main thing. Practice, sort of getting used to what you've got, what you're working with, finding new little tricks that you can get away with, particularly in setup. That's at least where I find most of my gain. If you can sort of find a little thing somewhere that can gain you a bit of time, that's always important. That's where practice and just sort of time on the game comes into play. You get that more experience, you find little things that can just gain you that few tenths that can really help you out. And Young Howes, having been down in F4, now up in F3, he's just showing how important that sort of thing is.
Yeah, definitely. But anybody can get it. We've seen many surprises in all the tiers this season. And if anybody can just nail it and get an absolute perfect lap in, that could be good enough for pole position. So it's definitely going to be interesting. We definitely need to keep an eye out where Spursy and Webber are going to end up. As of course, they are the main two guys for the championship. So will they be starting?
And here
close
we go. The first lap of Q3 here. XBL JM leading the way of all the cars behind him. Into turn one he goes, very, very smooth. Seems, yeah, he's got focus on getting that good exit. Use the outside curb very, very nicely. Now through the S's. Got to be careful on these curves, of course. Just a small touch of a few of them and it can put the car around, but XBL managing it very, very nicely. Through towards the Degners he goes. 100-metre board been absolutely demolished by someone there, and that's invalidated straight away. We'll cut over to Spursy as he navigates Degners a little bit better. Misses the apex slightly through Degner 2, and it's going to compromise him a little bit as he comes up the hill into the hairpin, but won't cost him too much time with the straight just being relatively short. He's got Young House behind him on lap as well, so as I said, these are two of the guys who could really, really fight for pole. Spursy through Spoon he goes.
No, many sorts of custom glitch not being made after Q3. You know, we don't know if it's an unfair penalty or not, but it's just the way it is. Sadly, so you have to serve it.
Purple sector 2 for Spursy, of course, with XBL invalidating his lap. That's an inevitability. So we'll just have to see what Spursy can manage. Through the final corner he goes, very tight against the wall. You've got to be careful there not to lose the back end over the bump and go into the wall, but Spursy provisional pole and just beats what Young Howells can manage, as Webber has knocked that one out of the park. 28.3 from him. Kings possibly a few mistakes on his lap sees him only P4, and the same for Rakyak down in P6 now as Dangerous Dan goes up into P1 on a .207, so solid lap times coming in so far.
I think that's the quickest lap we've had
so
far.
I think there's a mistake from Jake on his lap as well. 29.4, well off the pace at the moment. As there goes Kilbro, 28.9, so a fair bit of spread in terms of these times at the moment. Hunted just starting the lap here. Obviously taking a risk starting your lap later on once everyone else is on in laps, because you might find yourself getting blocked a little bit as people don't realise you're on a flying lap. Everyone's sort of under the impression that everyone's completed a lap and you sort of get missed a bit. But Hunted here, navigating his way through the first sector, understeering a little bit through that final left-hander in this first sector. As my headset's falling off. There we go. Right.
You're right,
run up. Yeah, it's a weird one to be honest. It just slowly sort of falls forward on my head. So
oh, don't worry about that. Yeah. Sometimes don't worry about it.
So interesting, Hunted not hugging the right side of the track there. It's obviously doesn't gain you too much time, but will gain you maybe a hundredth or so, as understeering very wide on the exit Spoon, and that's going to cost him a tenth or two for sure. All the guys look like they're getting out of the way nicely, looking for that slipstream from Jake. Jake going too, so you've got to be careful not to run into the back of the Alpha there. It's easy done when the car's going slow and you're trying to get that little bit of toe. But here we go with Hunted. Going to come over the line now. Where's this lap going to see him? Only P9. We'll have to wait to see what all the others can do.
JM's still in the pits.
Jake is setting another lap time on these tyres, so I want to see what he can manage here. We're right on board with him for this lap. So the only car on track on a flying lap at the moment has got Hunted ahead of him. So Hunted shouldn't cause too many issues through this sector one. Obviously Jake's still adjusting to the wheel. A track like this, not easy to, not an easy one to be at when you're still getting used to your equipment. But looks like he's doing all right so far. Obviously in Q3, that's where he's really wanting to be at the moment. Not purple sector 1. He's struggling with the gearbox a little bit. Seems gear too low through the first of Degners, but that shouldn't be too much of an issue.
No, it should be fine.
Out of the hairpin, short shift
Wonder
into
if he
third
does
gear.
complete this lap though, because I thought he might have come and put some fresh tyres on.
I imagine he will. We'll have to wait to see what his delta's like as he comes through the second sector split. I imagine if he sees himself green on his previous lap time, which he more than likely will be, I think we'll be seeing him complete this lap. Although saying that, it is very late in the session, so it would be taking a little bit of a risk as he's down marginally on his time. I reckon he's backed out of his lap.
Yeah, I think he has.
Yep, he's done it. Yeah, he's done it on the
It'd
ERS.
just be
Yep,
sensible
and he's
just to
invalidated
come
anyway.
in the pits now and just put some fresh tyres on.
Yep, exactly that. As Hunted does the same behind. Now, in that short phase where no one's out on track and we get to watch a very interesting pit lane. It's always a unique sight watching the pit lane, watching all the pit crews and the engineers on the pit wall. As we're about to see Rakyak out on track, so that gives us a little bit of action.
Yeah,
so we're still looking at the pit lane. There we go.
We're going to wait for a little bit for the others to come out.
Yeah, I think Rakyak just looking for a little bit of a clear track to get his lap time in. Obviously, being the first on track, you also get to dictate the pace of the outer lap. You get to sort of just run your own sort of tyre warm up. Don't have to worry about being slowed up in that final sector by cars ahead. So he'll have that little bit of an advantage, although he's a bit further ahead of the guys who are sort of almost staggering as they come out. Obviously, we've got Dangerous Dan, and I believe that's Webber behind him, sort of quite close together, but there's gaps between all of them, it would seem.
Yeah, definitely interested to see. Surely he's going to like a 28.1 or 28.0. For pole, I think that time will get beaten.
I imagine we'll see a lot of guys getting quite close at the end. If not beating it, they will be close. So Dan not quite set for pole yet, although he is in the best position to get it. He's just over a tenth clear from Webber, but Webber is looking very, very quick here. Right, now this is where it's going to start to get serious for these guys. Final runs being done. There won't be any second chances as it's very, very late in the session. There more than likely won't be enough time to go around again. I think the only one that'll be able to do that is Rakyak as he starts his lap now. So he'll have enough time to come in and out. Well, not come in and out, but cool down, recharge the DRS if he does make a mistake. But so far through turn 1, it's looking very, very nice. Through sector 1. Got to make sure he doesn't make any mistakes, as that will cost him a lot of time as he continues through the sector. It's looking very smooth so far. Nicely out on that outside curb. Not really losing any time from it. Obviously, if you go a little bit too wide, you'd be in the gravel. But Rakyak doing well so far. Towards the hairpin we come. The braking. In second, doesn't short shift into third like we saw Jake do earlier on. Now towards Spoon. Got to be careful on the outside curve. We've seen a few of the guys invalidating their times there. Rakyak needs to make sure he doesn't do so. Doesn't really use that outside curve at all through the middle part of Spoon. Not wants to take any risks on this lap. We'll have to wait to see if he's up on his split. He's up by almost 5/10. So this could see him pushing towards pole. He's got that purple middle sector, but I think it's that first sector that's letting him down a little bit. Now what can he do through what is essentially 3 corners in this final sector? Cross line he goes, P3, but not quite enough to get himself on the front row. That would be the best that he can manage. And
still good lap time from him though.
Who is next on track? We've got XBL and Spursy on out laps, just starting their laps now. We've got Webber coming through the final corner to complete his lap. Although he's down on time, so this will be a second lap that he's going for on this stint. Just about being able to, as Dan as well. Dan with an invalid lap time. He's going to be going again. Now we'll see what Kings can do. He's coming across the line. He does go original pole. Now that's pressure on Dan and Webber to improve on their times.
Yeah, but Dan will still be
Dan
officially
by
on pole,
300ths of a second.
He'll still officially be on
Yeah,
pole.
that is true. That is true. That 5 postcode penalty for Kings is going to be really, really costly to him here. But if he can get that pole position, it will limit any loss to him here. Younghowes aborts his lap, doesn't improve, and that's his qualifying complete P6, the best that he can manage. Kilbro, can he beat Younghowes and put himself further up the order? No, he can't. Who else? We got Hunted. He's invalidated his lap time. XBL, I believe, will be the next one to complete a lap. What's his sector split? It doesn't. Well, actually, he's not got one because obviously he's not set a lap time yet. So saying he's purple in that middle sector.
Could have been saying
the
purple for everyone in that middle sector.
Yep, it's classic from this game. We'll see what XBL can manage in it. It was purple, 28.0. So that drops Kings down. Kings will be at best P7 after this, and that is a brilliant lap from XBL there, indeed. CCRL Jake across the line he goes. Doesn't improve. It's going to be a P9 star. He started P10 last week. It's only one better this week. As Webber's gone past Kings. So Kings is currently P3.
And Spurs is not going to complete this lap.
Spurs backed out.
Wow,
Kings obviously not a lap, and that's going to be it. So Kings will drop down into P8, promoting Kilbro to P7, Howes to P6, Spursy to P5, and Ratkex to P4, and Dan to P3. So XBL, brilliant lap time from him, and unlucky from Webber there to just get beaten to it. Might be worth getting Webber in the party for a brief post-qualifying interview, obviously fighting for that championship. And
we can do that while I have my toilet break, and my leg is numb as anything. So I'll just be back in a minute.
It seems like Webber's in a brilliant position to gain on his championship rival here. So try and get Webber in the party quickly. But there is your top 10. XBL P1 from Webber in P2, Kings, who will drop down into P8, qualified in P3 with Dan in P4, Rakyak, and then Spursy P5 and 6, Howes in P7, Kilbro qualifying P8, Jake in P9, and Hunted down in P10, 1.4 seconds off, not able to get a representative lap time in the end in Q3. Have we got Webber in the party? Yes, we have. Webber, if you can include your audio, just a quick chat about the qualifying session and obviously the championship fight. P2 for you and P6 for Spurs, which return to P5 after King's 5 players grid penalty is served. How's it looking for you as you're going to the race? It's a good chance for you surely to close some points in on Spursy here.
Yeah, I mean, my main challenge is realistically just close that out. I think I just need to make sure I get more points than Spursy today. That is my goal, and then we'll see what we can do in Brazil. But if we can bring home a lot of points here, then it would be very nice indeed. So see how it goes, really.
Yes. So obviously starting starting P2. You've got the front row of the grid. Are you hoping to be fighting for the win, or are you just hoping to keep your nose clean and sort of just bring any points that you possibly can?
I mean, I'm just looking at turn 1 first, just trying to get it. I'm going to try and get down there to the inside into turn 1, and then we'll just take it from there, really.
Yeah, alright, so we'll leave you there. We'll leave you to focus on your race, get into that racing mindset. Good luck with your race, and fingers crossed for you, you'll be able to bring the championship closer for us in that final race of the season next week. So good luck for your race, and have fun.
Alright, cheers lads.
So there is Webber, been and gone. Obviously, good chance for him to get a win here. Better chance for him to close some points on Spursy as well. It'd be beautiful to see if he can close the gap a little bit. So we've got a really, really intense fight next week, but obviously still got to focus on this race. Still got 26, 27 laps to to do here tonight. XBL on pole, though. It looks like he's got the pace to win this race, but Webber very, very close in qualifying, and could throw up a little bit of a challenge to XBL here. Dan obviously in P3, near enough out of the championship fight following his issues last week, but it looks fairly good for him this week. P3 start. Hopefully he'll be able to keep out of any drama today and bring back at least a podium for himself. Rakiak doing well in the Williams in P4 with Spursy in P5. Spursy, he's in a difficult position. He knows he's got that championship that he's fighting for, but the main thing he's got to think about is just keeping his nose clean into turn 1, as Webber was saying. That's the main thing, just focus on turn 1 and then go from there. And that's what Spursy realistically needs to do. Doesn't want to take any risks, might even, in being cautious, lose out to Young House, who's got nothing to lose alongside him there in P6. Kilbro, Kings, Jake and Hunted all wanting to grab a bit better than what they've managed, and I imagine we'll see the likes of Summer Sport and guys further down starting on those medium tyres. However, we are here on the formation that get all the stuff up that we need. So, interestingly, everybody on the softs. Not exactly as I would have expected, but it's going to make strategy a little bit simple for us, unless the guys are expecting some early rain. I wonder if that's possibly the reason behind that, but it's an interesting one. Not what I would have expected, but it's going to make the race that little bit simpler for us in terms of monitoring strategy, monitoring who's doing what, and should be a good one. Still waiting for Sam to return from the toilet. Obviously, perfect time to hop off before the race begins. But as it stands, it looks like we are set for what should be a good race. Obviously, Japan not a brilliant one for overtaking, but these guys being so close in terms of pace, we could see a fair amount of action up at the front, and a few guys further down who likely should have qualified a little bit higher. I'm looking at the likes of Edu, Dips, and Avoki as the main ones. Those guys P15, 16, and 17. We'll see a little bit of a fight to the field from those three drivers, as well as a few of the guys ahead. So very competitive grid this in terms of how close they are in terms of pace to each other, and should give us some good action here. XBL taking quite a quick formation up here, warming up those tyres an awful lot as Webber falls back a little bit. Obviously, pad versus wheel here. It's difficult on the softs for the pad users in terms of tyre temps here, but once they go up to the mediums, it will really be equal. We'll begin to see the pace difference, if any difference, between the guys here. Here we go, XBL coming towards his grid spot. Webber will be lined up alongside him. This is where it's going to get interesting. This is where it gets serious for these guys. Webber, he's got a lot to gain here. Spursy with a lot to lose with where he's starting, and this should be an interesting one for the championship fight. All the guys at the back forming up. Edu, the last car to line up on his grid spot. He's in place now. Here we go then, see if we can get a good camera angle. That camera angle was horrific. Anyway, here we go. 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights here in Japan. We're underway. It's a poor start from Webber, who gets hit from behind by Rakiak, and there's carnage in the background. Renault sideways, and he's in the wall. Paita out immediately. Not even made it to turn 1. He's out in this race. Webber from P2 on the grid drops all the way down to P6. His championship rival Spursy up into P3. Safety car out immediately as Paita, I don't even know what happened there. It looked like possibly Webber's lights going out late, and Rakiak with nowhere to go with the track being so tight at the on that start-finish straight. Rakiak had no chance to really avoid him, went into the back of him, and obviously that caused a concertina effect behind, and unfortunately Paita, in avoiding all the carnage, has found himself in the wall and retired from this race.
When Burst put in the chat, apparently it was a light glitch, so you were right
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah, that's fairly standard from Codemasters nowadays. We've seen a lot of those causing issues for drivers, and unfortunately Paita paying the ultimate price for it. Will, however, possibly throw up a little bit of a fight. Yeah, I'm having to focus on the strategy here. There's a few guys who I imagine would have picked up damage, Rakyak most notably. So we'll like to see them into the pits. I wonder if we'll see them onto the hards or maybe even the mediums to try and push those to the end. They can do it, but there will be tyre wear at the end. Now, I don't know if it's worth going for it, but I imagine for the guys like Rakyak, it's probably better for them to go onto those medium tyres. I'll cut back here. Rakyak with his damage does peel off into the pits. Is anyone behind going to follow suit? CCRL Jake does, so another trouble start for Jake. It's just the two of them into the pits. XBL still leads the way as Dan is promoted into P2 following Webber's glitched start. Spursy, who was P5, after all that carnage, sees himself P3, so a net podium position for him, and he's gaining at this rate points on his championship rival in CCRL Webber. So it's not going Webber's way this week, and hopefully it will come back to him later in the race. As said earlier, I would desperately want to see Webber closing some points on Spursy this week, so we can get a really intense fight next week for the championship.
Would you not think though, for more people to pick the hearts and then go all the way to the end?
It's a difficult one. Obviously, I don't think the pit lane here is particularly long, so it doesn't cost too much time from what I'm aware. I might be wrong on that one.
Because they're left to say
done too much running here.
He just would have been like pit. So
yeah, I guess if I was if I was Rakyak here, obviously had damage at the start, I would be pitting probably for the medium tyres, but we see him on hards here, and then obviously Jake with his damage pitted onto the medium, so I would really hope that Jake's going to the end here and he can put himself up into that fight. Obviously guys ahead also need to pit, so he'll have that advantage. I guess the only issue for those who haven't got damage, they sort of see it as, if I pit, I've got to fight through the traffic at this point, and is it really worth taking that risk? Is track position more valuable? And if I think if you've not got damage, maybe you're better off staying out, seeing if you can get that track position. For those like Edu, Avoki, dips towards the back end, maybe it would have been worth pitting, so they wouldn't have lost too much in terms of time. But I don't know. It's likely that we'll see another safety car later in the race. Obviously 16 drivers at a track like this, it's kind of to be expected, and maybe that's what those guys are sort of looking at and sort of expecting later in the race.
Yeah, we'll have to see. But yeah, it's not going for well for Webber. Down in 6th position. Spurs, he's got the 3rd kill, but he's got the 4th actually, so rather to him.
Yeah, Kilroy's had a really good start. I feel like everyone on the left side of the grid at the start of the race has had quite an advantage. Well, as I say, everyone on the left side. Jake would have been on the left side, I believe, but those who did start on that left side from about P8 upwards, they would have gained a bit off the start, because everyone ahead on the right hand side of the grid would have been slowed down by Webber's glitch, and then Rakyak going into the back of him. So anyone on that left side of the grid would have had a bit of an advantage off the start. And yeah, it must be said, it's quite fortunate for all the guys. As much as Pite has crashed, we don't want to see it. For Jake and Rakyak, who did pick up damage, it helps them an awful lot. But it's also really, really lucky for the guys who were towards the back that they weren't collected by Paeta, who was spinning out before they'd even reached turn 1. So there we go though, safety car in this lap. XBL will take the lead of the race, controlling the pace now. Safety car been brought into the pits quite late here, so XBL's not really got much that he can work with in terms of a safety car restart.
Let's just hope everybody gets away cleanly without any points.
Yep, and here we go. XBL's gone, but he's had a poor exit. Dan could have him here. They're going to be side by side as they come towards turn 1. We have a bit of a fight here. I think XBL's going to have to give this one up. You cannot get round the outside. Yeah, he's had to back out. Dan in the Toro Rosso up into P1 now. XBL was fighting back initially, but just realised he didn't quite have what he needed to there. We've got action still going on in the background. Avoki and Dips making the move on the Red Bull there as they're still side by side. And Avoki opportunistic there around the outside of Dips in the S section. Big move from him up into P13. So I think we've got a spinner there. Elephant in the wall.
Oh no, he's very good.
Yellow's in sector 1 again. He's got to be careful not to get in the way. Yeah, he says out the way nicely. Huge respect to Elephant there for just making sure he's out of the way. If he'd taken that corner at racing speeds, he would have collected someone else. But Elephant, as I think Webber's had an issue. Webber's off.
Oh, is he off on his own?
That's not what we want to see. I would hope it's on his own and not with someone else, because that would be even more frustrating for him. But down in P12, started P2. It's not what he wanted, and this is going to be hugely costly to him. As it stands, though, obviously, yeah, Dan's actually in a good position to possibly see himself back into that championship fight a little bit. Obviously, Spursy still in P3, going to be scoring some decent points. But should Spursy have any issues, Dan could gain a solid 25 points on all the other guys in the championship here. And I think we could see a move from Edu on Tom for P9. No real chance of it. And this is what I was saying earlier about this track not being great for overtaking. If there is a car ahead of you that's just that little bit slower in terms of outright pace, as long as they've got decent top speed, as Hunted drifting the car through the S section there, and that gives Kings a chance to go up the inside, and he has done. Kings up into P6. And now Summer Sport on his debut, trying to get past the Red Bull side by side as they get into the Degners. Yes, Summer Sport has to back out. Avoki out in that middle sector, and that first sector, the end of the first sector, and that's actually going to help Elephant out an awful lot here, because having dropped down half away, he's going to be miles behind. It's just, yeah, it just won't cost him quite as much time as it would have been. It's a shame for Webber that it's not a full safety car, because this is the time where you can comfortably go from from the softs to the mediums and make that pit stop if there was a safety car. So it's a shame for Webber that there's no real chance for him to get back into this race at this stage, although still that might come back to him later on. VSC has been dropped, and it looks like Dan's had a good restart. My voice is going already. Hunted trying to come back at Kings around the outside in the final chicane. No real way through there. Kings defending nicely. We saw Kings on the attack last week, and he's now on the defence from the Red Bull this week. Looks like Kings has just enough top speed to hold it ahead of Hunted. Kings holds the position into turn 1, yet Tom into the pits onto the hard tyres. I'd have gone for mediums personally if I was in his position, but I guess he's not confident in his tyre management. As Dan has got out of that DRS range, 1.053 seconds the gap, and that looks like it's just continuing to increase.
Yeah, it looks like he's got a really good race pace. So before with that VSC and all that jam seemed to be struggling a bit, slowing it back in a few times. I don't know if he's set with more for qualifying, but it's got Spursy Gilbert on the back a bit now, so it's going to be under pressure to stay in second place now.
Yeah, exactly, and obviously Spursy here, as much as he's going to want that position, he knows that if he takes any risk, he's at risk of losing points here. He's gaining at this stage, what, 14 points on Webber? Yeah, so he's gaining 14 points on Webber, who is already 9 points behind him in the championship. That's 23 points that he'd be ahead of Webber entering Brazil. That
That
would
would
put
be
the
very good,
championship
really.
right in his favour.
If he retire, Webber would have to win.
Yep. So
Yeah,
at this stage, there's an incident in the background. Yeah, Rakiak, I think he's gone for a move somewhere, and he's been spun around. We're going to see, I think, maybe Jake going for a move on Dips here, possibly. He's getting close, but it's not quite close enough. Dips holds the position. I would say at this stage, if we're assuming that Jake's not going to be pitting, he is the net race leader. He's getting held up by Dips at the moment. I'm confident that he can get to the end. In CCRL Japan here, Mr. ERL Thibaut, the flying Frenchman, he started on the hard tyres and then pitted lap 1 for the mediums and took them to the end without much of an issue. So it's quite easily done, and especially with Jake here having had the safety car to help him out, he's had that bit of an advantage to sort of save the tyres a little bit. So
actually it's all over the back of Kings, so he's got some pretty good race pace, so he's not flying up the field as well as Singapore at the moment, but and then you've got Summer Sport and Webber right behind Edu as well, so pretty good battle going on there. And after 10 minutes will easily go to the end.
Yep. 5-second penalty for track limits for Elephant there. That's not great, as into the pits goes Hunted. Got to be careful not to speed. A little bit risky on that pit entry. Imagine we'll see him onto the mediums, and to the end he should go. Now that's where we see Jake go through, and just look at the gap that Jake pulls as Jake's making a move on Dips into turn 1. So that gap between Jake and Hunted obviously being on the medium tyres, which we'd expect the top 9 to be going on to, as their round is Webber again. This has been a race from hell for the Racing Point driver.
Yeah, it's the race to forget for Webber.
Yeah, this could almost be championship defining this one. He's got to desperately hope that Spursy loses out.
Yeah, keep it up.
Jake is in a brilliant position to win this race here. He might not have the pace later on in the race, obviously, with the tyre wear, but at this stage, as Dan is around, Dan's made a mistake, and that promotes Spursy crucially into P2. This championship will be all over in this race.
Yeah, to get up, no one was near enough to hit him.
Yeah, that was on his own. On his own. He's lost it.
For the lead.
Yeah, Spursy. I think now with Spurs's mind, it's gone from let's just try and focus on getting as many points as I possibly can to if I win this race, I win the championship. Let's have it. And it looks like he's going for it here. Into turn 1, he's going to look around the outside. He's in none ERS.
That'd be brave.
Yeah, he's not taking too many risks. He wants that win, but he's not willing to risk the championship for it. Dan into the pits. See where Dan comes out in relationship to Jake, as Jake's having to defend a little bit from Dips behind him. Dan's going to be miles behind, so Jake looks like he could have about a 10-15 second maybe lead over XBL and those guys when they come into the pits. Jake could win this race.
Yeah, but like you said, these guys have much fresher tyres at the end. They should be a lot quicker.
They will have fresher tyres, but the tyre wear isn't too much of an issue. That's the thing. So he wouldn't be losing too much time in having that extra tyre wear. He'd maybe be losing about 2 or 3 tenths each lap, and it wouldn't be enough to close in. The leaders would have to have a massive pace advantage over him, which I don't think they do. Like, Jake's showing some good pace here just to be matching what the soft runner of Dips is doing here, who himself is actually trying to hound Jake to try and get back past. So if I was Dips there, I wouldn't really be wanting to fight Jake. I'd just be following along at this point.
Yeah,
there's no reason to fight. Yeah, exactly. So just to do a little bit of maths at this point, Ratkak 4 seconds off Jake going to the end. So
being the first one with 4.
yeah, I think
And he
At
just got
this
penalty, I
stage,
think, still in the pit lane.
yeah, net P1 is CCRL Jake, net P2 is Rakyak, I think. Rakyak goes through, passes side by side in turn 1. Jake's been forced off a little bit. It was a clean move, but I don't think Jake was quite expecting that aggression from Dips there. And that's going to cost them both a fair bit of time.
Yeah, it's not what Jake
This
needs,
is not.
really.
Yeah, this is not the battle that Jake needs. He just maybe better just sitting behind Dips at the moment, just accepting the fact that Dips is going to fight this and just sort of stay behind, save the ERS, save the fuel, just to be able to defend later on. That has brought Rakyak, what, 5 tenths or so closer after that little fight, and Kilbro, having just pitted, is about 10 seconds or so away from Jake. So I imagine we'll see XBL about 8 more seconds off of where Jake is, and then Jake's going to have about 17 laps that he's got to defend that position. So Jake in a good position, but it's going to get difficult.
Oh, it's definitely going to get difficult. Definitely. Like left as the Dips, it's going to cost Jake to win. You could do right on to the top body's found out.
Yeah, Dips not really helping his CCRL counterpart here.
Well, to be fair, they are battling, so yeah, Dips are
Yep.
right to battle him.
As that's life-saving for Jake here. Now Jake can use those tyres and push on. He's got over half of his ERS stocked up, and he's going to be well out in front here. Jake just needs to take these tyres until the end. I swear if he pits, I'm going to have a go at him. He better not pit.
The other good thing for Jake is he's got Rakyak as a buffer for on hard. So
Exactly.
if they get
Exactly.
hold of
Rakyak's not going to want to give it up.
No, it's definitely
Yep.
not. We know
So we've got Dan.
If we go to the end on the hards, that's definitely.
Dan and Kilbro are all over each other here, and they've got young Howes in for company behind them. Howes on the better tyres.
So David Dan hasn't really lost a lot of time really after his
He's
stint,
not. No, he's
if you think about it. He's right
obviously
up with the guys
having the
who will.
undercut to help him out. Yeah,
Yeah.
the undercut would have helped him out a little bit. The other guy's not really responding in time, and it's going to have saved him a little bit of time. But he's still not where he should have been, if not for his mistake. As XBL is all over Rakyak already, so Jake's only going to have about a 3-second gap to XBL, who looks very, very quick.
He knows that he needs to get past Rakyak as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I desperately want to see Jake winning this race after his struggles last week,
And-
for staying in as long as he did.
And we can't forget that little battle that JM and Rakyak had in Singapore last week,
Yeah,
where JM ended up getting damaged from that incident. So let's hope we don't see that again.
yeah, I imagine we're going to see an aggressive Rakyak here. He knows that he's got the this net P2, and he knows that he's got to defend this if he wants to hold on to a podium position. Otherwise, he's going to start to get swallowed up by the guys behind him. He's going to need all the straight line speed he can get. I think he is going to
Rakyak
struggle.
now officially takes the lead.
Rakyak, interesting, is closing in on Jake.
Sorry. Yeah, he is. He's got a very good place on those hands.
Jake better get his arse on the go here if he wants to hold on to this position. Rakyak closing in 10th by 10th. This is not what Jake needs. XBL 3-second penalty, crucial. Jake and Rakyak just need to focus on not picking up any warnings here, and they'll have the position over him, provided that Rakyak can keep him behind long enough. And obviously Spursy, Kilbro, Dangerous Dan and Young Howes all in a little bit of a train behind. They'll be closing on these guys quite quickly, and they could earn themselves an extra spot. As side by side they're going to go entering Spoon. Yeah,
That's pretty
Rakyak
close to
defends that
running out
position.
of time. You can't overtake
Yeah.
that speed, not like that.
There's Spoon, you have to be on the inside and you have to be ahead before the braking zone, otherwise you're going to get turned in on. It's just the way the corner is. You can't avoid it. As Jake's in the grass there, like it's an interesting line as XBL stuck in behind Rakyak. And is that payback for last week? I think,
Oh no. But still, I swear there was a bit of damage there.
yeah, there was damage from Rakyak because he ploughed into the wall and into the pits he goes. I don't know though if XBL got damage for it. There was contact as Rakyak ricocheted off the wall, there was contact like between Rakiak and then XBL again on the rejoin, but it looks like XBL's still got the pace that he needs. Rakiak from a net P2 now falling down to what, P14, soon to be overtaken, I believe, by Elephant there. Although I think he's just about out ahead. Yeah, he is. So that little bit of an incident there has it's a shame for Rakiak, but I don't know. We'll have to leave that up to the stewards.
We kind of had a feeling that might happen. So
Yeah.
the question is now, how quickly is Jem going to catch Jake?
Yeah, I do think though. Yeah, what I imagine we'll see is Rakiak picks up a penalty. I think Jake, once XBL gets close, once he gets within that sort of 5/10 mark and sort of putting a lot of pressure on Jake, I imagine we'll see Jake not fight it too much, knowing that XBL has a penalty. I imagine he'll be asking Jeff for that information, and I reckon Jake will just try and sit in behind XBL, use the DRS, use the slipstreams, just stay in behind and drag him to a win that I would say on strategy is fully deserved here. He's done well so far to manage his race, and current race leader.
Kings batted it, and I think somebody's got off.
Kings has gone off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Kings has got off.
Kings off at turn 1, lost position now to Summer Sport, who's in the points on his debut, so fair play to him on that one.
Oh, and Hunter's close to through down the house there, so I don't know exactly what happened there.
Young House has damage, front right end plate damage.
That must have had contact with Kings then. That's
Yeah.
I presume.
I want to keep an eye on this front battle, though. We've got Webber closing on dips in the background, but I'm more focused here on what's going on between Jake and XBO. I really desperately want to see Jake getting this win. You can call me biased all you want, but for Jake to get his first win on the wheel, it would be great to see. Obviously, he's not,
to be honest.
yeah, he's not one who's particularly confident in himself and in his pace. For saying he thinks he should be F4, but showing at the moment, he should be where he is right now.
Oh, definitely. Definitely agree with you with that.
I am quickly going to cut to Dips and Webber, as we could see a move. Webber just getting past Dips. Is Dips going to go for a fight back? I don't think he will, as XBL is now in DRS range. So I wonder how long it's going to be until XBL's putting that pressure on and getting past Jake with that DRS. Obviously Jake's not going to quite have the pace with that 9-lap advantage on the tyres. As side by side towards turn 1, Dips and Webber. Webber's championship hopes just fading away every lap that he's fighting with Dips here.
Yeah, definitely.
He's got to sit in as Dips made a mistake and slowed down.
Oh, no.
Webber had to.
Right,
Webber
we
didn't have any time to react. Safety car
Yes,
out.
we do. Right, that can help Jake out.
This, I don't know what to expect here. XBL might stay out for that track position, and we'll see Jake in. It's almost inevitable that Jake will pit. I think if I'm Jake there, I'm pitting for softs and going to the end. But cut to the front quickly. I don't know what to expect from the guys behind him. Obviously, they've done at most 7 laps, and that's hunted on the medium tyres. Will they just stay out and just try and hold that track position?
Jake picks another set of mediums, though.
I wouldn't be pit for mediums here. Softs all the way. 12 laps.
Really? Do you think
And
so? 12 laps?
Yeah,
Would you
12
not
laps,
think
and not
so?
all of them are racing laps. Yeah, 12 laps, not all are racing laps. Softs will make it to the end easy. No issues at all. Jake in the pits. XBL stays out.
Yeah,
Spursy staying out as well.
Out.
Kilbro stays out. No, Jake. Jake's going to lose out so much here. King's in the pits. How's in the pits. Summer Sport stays out. Edu in the pits. Webber. Now this could help Webber. If Webber really needs to stay out here. No, Webber, stay out. Please. Webber could have gained a lot there. He could have gained about 4 or 5 positions if he just stayed out. Jake now, he's behind his teammate. He's got 5 cars between him and the race win. He's on the better soft tyres, less laps done on them. I would hope for Jake that his teammate will part like the Red Sea and allow Jake through. I promise this is not the CCR Jake Grand Prix. This is the X3 race here. Ratcak, though, I do believe he picked up a drive-through penalty for speeding under safety car, which is going to cost him an awful lot of time at the restart. Now we're going to have a couple laps of absolutely zero action, so sit and watch the arse end of the Mercedes SLS safety car and just admire the design.
I'm interested to see safety car coming this lap night. So we've got another lap.
No, it'll be out until everyone's caught up to it, essentially. If not, it'll be out for 3 laps. So it's
after his spin, but he
yeah.
did himself. He's not the third, and he still
the
gets
safety car will be out for 3 laps, or until everyone's caught up, which one will be on the second lap. So it's kind of, it varies. It depends where everyone is. So I'm just having a quick sad look at the championship, because it's a little bit depressing now, seeing that Webber's only down in P10 and Spursy's, like, as much as I'm happy for Spursy that he's up in P2. We all want the championship to be close, so we all want that fight. But at this rate, Spursy currently on 18 points. Webber currently on the 1, meaning that 17-point gain sees the gap currently at 26 points. So Webber would need to win in Brazil and get the fastest lap and have Spursy not score. That is highly unlikely, considering Spursy's season averaging, what, 15.8 points each race throughout the season. I doubt we'll see Spursy not scoring in Brazil, personally. I wonder if it'll be this up. We'll see the safety car in.
I think it will
Elephant in the first sector. I would hope Elephant will catch up before the second sector that ends, because obviously that's the point at which the safety car will be determined if it's coming in or not. So if Elephant can get into the little choo-choo train before that end of this sector, we'll hopefully be in for a little bit of racing for an extra lap. So I think
definitely.
Elephant should catch up by Spoon. Lovely stuff.
So let's see if Jam can keep the lead with 10 laps remaining. I don't know who's going to win this race at the moment. Could be anything. I'm interested to see how quickly Jake can fly through the field.
Safety car in this lap, as we said. There we go. So obviously we saw last time round at the safety car restart, XBL was leading the way and he almost dropped the back end on the restart, and Dan got through nice and easily. Will it be the same story this time around for Spursy this time? XBL, it looks like he's about to go, and he has done. Will the exit be better than last time? It looks like it's been okay, but he's going to get challenged into turn 1. It's got to go defensive. XBL's got to go really defensive here, but I don't think Spurs is really fighting it too much. He's holding his nose on the inside, but XBL late on the brakes.
Oh, what's that one?
Everyone in behind.
Definitely go off there. What's something flying?
I think that was a little bit of grass flying up. Don't think that was really anything, hopefully. As on board with Jake here, there's a bit of lag going on between Summer Sport and Hunted. What am I seeing?
Oh dear. It's lagging for the whole lobby at the moment.
Yeah, it is. This is server connection, which is brilliant. Oh no, and Jake's in the back of... No! Jake's got damage. Webber's around.
This gets worse to Webber.
So, yeah, this is not the race we wanted. It's been an entertaining watch, but in terms of what we want to see, it's not what we would have wanted. Webber down at the back of the field, and that's why I said it might be better for him to just stay out on those medium tyres and not come into the pits, because he would have gained a few positions. He would maybe been ahead of Jake, and would have had a chance to score more points. But as it stands, he puts himself in a difficult position, and there's more contact. This is getting crazy now. King's taking to the unusual pit entry. As Ratkak in the pits. 4 wide in turn 1. What are you saying? We've got a car off, safety car, Tom in the barriers. I mean, that's inevitable. Absolutely inevitable. You do not want to be 4 wide in turn 1 at Japan. Like, some tracks you could maybe get away with it. Japan though, like, you better go 2 wide. I don't know what they were thinking. A few of them needed to back out there, and clearly no one did, and in the wall they went. And another few laps of zero action. Will be a, lap 20, lap 21 that we'll see the safety car in at best, and that'll leave us with about 6-7 laps of racing to go here. 3 safety cars, I think 2 VSCs so far. We're almost reaching the limit. We've not actually had that many retirements, to be fair.
No, we haven't. Alright, how many we have? What? There's 3 safety cars, 1 VSC. So you've got 1 more at the jam. Now, so you're going to pit in after the end of his teammate.
Spursy stays out. Everyone stays out apart from what? Jake stays out.
That's interesting.
I'm wing damage. I don't know what he's thinking, unless that damage isn't quite as bad as it looks.
Yeah.
No, I can only imagine his XBL retired.
What was he retired for?
Spursy has just been handed this race win on a silver platter, and at the same time it appears that he's been handed the title in the same race. So Spursy is set to take the championship at this rate. This is obviously, yeah, as you said, it's not confirmed yet, but if Webber continues to have issues here, it could get close. Webber, what's Webber scoring at the moment? 1, 2, 4, 6 points for Webber. 21 points will be 19 points still the difference between Spursy.
Yeah, that'd be enough.
Yeah. At this rate, Spursy has taken the championship. Webber, after qualifying, after it looked so promising for him.
Not over yet. No guarantee he's going to win this race yet.
Well, as you say, it's not over yet, but it's going to be difficult. The pressure on Webber now to gain some positions, and the heartache for him, knowing that for the most part it's not been his fault. The main issue for him being that start glitch, which dropped him down to about P10 at the first lap. So it's just been one of the most unfortunate races he possibly could have had. Still scoring points though. There's still that positive. He just needs to focus on that, I think.
Well, it's going to be interesting. It's already safety car coming in at the end of this
Should
lap.
be at the end of this lap.
Hopefully no more safety cars will be ST down for the rest of the race. But you still got Kilbrome right behind him. Hunt's been in 3rd place, the highest he's been all season. And then Summer Sport doing very well on his debut. And then, like I said, damage can't be that too bad today because we would have cleared.
As Kings had a 5 grid penalty in quali,
Yeah.
and now has a 5-second penalty in the race for an equally stupid reason. Not his fault. I think Dan's hit the back of him, and Kings has been penalised for it.
Yeah, that's very unlucky. It's very unlucky, yeah.
Indeed. So, Spursy inheriting the race lead, having stayed out. Kilbro and Hunted rounding out the podium runners, but Summer Sport on his debut in a solid position, and Jake possibly in a position to challenge. Obviously that damage going to hinder him a little bit. We don't know quite how much and how bad the damage is exactly, because considering the fact that he stayed out, we would have thought it wouldn't have been too bad, but as it is, safety car in this lap, and Spursy will control the restart here. The pace will be determined by him, and he's I think he's had a little bit of an advantage here over what XBL had those past 2 times. The safety car's been announced earlier, and he gets to judge what he wants to do. We'll have a ride on board with Kilbro as he's getting ready for Spursy to go, and I think Spursy's had a brilliant restart as Kilbro's made a bit of a mistake. Better hash of that one, and Hunted could be in for a go here. Got some action going on side by side in the background. I think that was the 2 Alfa Romeos that were line astern, as I think Webber's gone into the back of Jake. I think it's lucky not to have damage there as they're ghosting between each other. That's not what you want to see. And Jake drops down a position through ghosting cars. Webber up into P5. Championship still on the table then. Webber still mathematically in it, but he needs to get past these guys ahead of him. He needs to be patient with these moves and not rush it. He's getting very, very aggressive, and he's got to be careful not to be too aggressive and throw away his chances again.
Yeah, he's just got to be careful.
Going to go down the inside. That's a brilliant move. Good space left from Summer Sport, although Webber's not giving any space on the exit. That was that was naughty from Webber and risky, because if Summer Sport kept his nose in that would have sent both of them to the barriers. But Summer Sport respectful despite the rudeness of the move, and both getting away with it just about.
Yeah, just about, luckily.
Yeah, I think Webber getting a little bit heated in that that racing point. Going to ride on board with him for most of these last 5 laps or so. So this is where it's all important. Webber versus Spursy. Just see the amount of time that Webber's losing on the straights. Yeah, Hunted looks like he's got an awful lot of straight line speed. You see this middle this first sector where Webber closing up on those softs.
Damage can't be really that bad on Jake because he's keeping up with his speed, mate. I know he's on mediums, but still, I think he'll take more quite a bit still, and now Webber's all over the back of Hunted.
Yep.
Oh, well, I just got off and take the wide on wide.
See all the gravel flecking up. So that's Webber up into P3. Webber, against all odds, could still win this race.
That's what he's going for, isn't he?
This is something else from Webber here. The aggression, maybe a little bit too much, as we saw with his move on Summer Sport, but making the moves that he needs to make, getting through when he needs to, and he sees that Ferrari, he sees his target, that bright red target ahead of him. That's what he's aiming for, that's where he wants to be, and Kilbro is in the way. I reckon we're going to see a lunge either down the inside, or if defended, it's going to be around the outside. He's gone for it. Barely going to make the corner. He's going to give that place back. Yeah, he's given the place back, and now is Is Summersport going to be close enough to make a move? No, he's not. Summersport falling back too far, and Webber, after just a little bit too aggressive on the brakes there, a little bit too optimistic, and gone deep. Had to give the place back, and another lap behind Kilbro.
Yeah, but all the stops go off at the end of the place.
Kings and Dan in the background, they're quite close, as well as Edu and Jake. I think Jake's wing damage really starting to cost him some time here. That first sector looks like absolute hell for him. I think Webber's going for it. He's around the outside. He knows there's no way through. He's going to cut back. This could be the move. He's going to have the grip on the exit that Kilbro won't have, and he's swooped around the outside. 2.2 seconds. That's what he needs to find. Not only that, but he's going to have to find a way past, and Spursy will not make it easy for him.
Oh no, because he knows to keep in the head and to sort of extend that
Hunted
gap.
on the back of Summersport. He's got to be careful. He's closing very, very early. Now will he go for a move? Will he replicate what Webber did? Look for the inside on the bit of a dummy, but no. Sticks it in behind, waits for the DRS. I don't know if Hunter's going to find a way through. Summersport has DRS, but not enough straight line speed, and Hunted is through up into P4. Elephant fast up of the race. The two Mercedes in the background having a bit of a fight. Dangerous Dan, as I think Dan's got past Edu there. As Edu goes back up the inside, that's very, very opportunistic. Maybe a little bit too hopeful, but there's fighting also going on further ahead. Jake, no! Jake's around. He saved it, I think. Yeah, Jake saved it. He's P10 7 points, but he was side by side with, I believe, Kings going through that middle sector, and yeah, you don't go side by side through sector 1 at Japan. It's just not a thing. Spursy then. Spursy still leads the way, 2.1 seconds still the gap, and Webber doesn't look like he's closing that in at all. He's not got the ERS that he needs. What's the difference?
Gap. And it's looking pretty good at the moment. Webber's going to have to
yeah, he looks like he's set for this. He's not going to take the championship, of course. Webber being in P2 keeps it alive, but he's going to be 16 points behind going into Brazil, unless he can find a way through. If he can find 2.1 seconds in these last 2 laps, he's going to. There's a lot of effort that he's got to put in here. He's going to need all the determination that he can possibly get, and I'm sure he's not going to be short of that here. He sees that Ferrari. He wants this desperately. We've seen it with the moves that he's been making. You just see there the gap between the pair of them, 1.9 seconds now. It's closing.
And he stands all over the back of Kings as well, and Summersport has not given up on Hunted either. Oh, he's got a bit wide on the grass though. Oh, Dangerous Dan's gone wide, and he's hit the wall. He's gone too wide.
Dan on his own again, is it?
Yeah, that's all that. Gone far too wide and he's gone to
he had the pace to challenge for the win in this race, and a few mistakes on his own has almost thrown that away.
Young guys have tapped the back of his teammate. Teammates seem to be tapping the back of each other on that hairpin tonight.
Yeah, we saw with Jake and Summersport, and now we've seen with Edu and Howes.
Yeah, the difference is though, you're getting damaged though. It was more of a light.
Edu's around. He's lost the back and he saved it.
He
saved it. Right. Now have a look at the front here. This gap, 1.5 seconds. That's Spursy has he's lost what 6 or 7 tenths in that last lap to Webber. Webber's not going to be close enough. Webber hugging the inside takes the fastest lap of the race. That's what he needs. 1.2 seconds. The gap on this final lap. I don't care. I'm going on board with Webber. Sorry to anyone in the background. He's fighting. We're having a lap on board here with Webber. Webber's 1.1 seconds away from Spursy. He's so close.
I can't see it. I can't see it happening.
I can't see it happening, but it's gonna be tight. It will be very, very close at the end of the lap, provided that there's no mistake from Webber. And any mistake from Spursy is going to cost him this win.
Yeah, but Webber
Webber,
pushes too
purple
hard, he
sector
makes a
one.
mistake to himself like that.
Oh, he's in the gravel.
Boy, he's pushing too hard now.
No, Webber, he's just not quite had it. I think that's going to be curtains for the fight for the win. Summer Sport, no way through in the background, as I think Howes made a mistake, which sees Jake go through. I'll switch back to the front runners here, unless there's some miracle that happens in this final sector for Webber. This race is Spursy's. Spursy dipping into the grass in that final sector on the outside, coming towards 130R. As much as it could have been for Webber. Yeah, it's going to be Spursy who takes the race when Webber on penalties jumps up into first. So Webber does take the win. He closes 7 points. The gap now 2 points entering Brazil. I
didn't remember Spursy getting a penalty.
I didn't recall Spursy getting a penalty either.
And Summer gets a podium on his debut, so well done to him.
Summer Sport snatched the podium. Brilliant, brilliant from him.
Quickly guys, who is the driver of the day? We have not brought that up. Who is the driver of the day? You think so?
If I'm given the call, it's Webber. Like, start glitch meant that he dropped all the way down the field. A few mistakes on his own, like following that, meant that he was in last a few times. And then a fight at the end of the race sees him snatch the win on penalties over the line. It's almost Canada 2011-esque with Jenson Button, where he sort of went from what was essentially like top 3 to last now, and then up to first. I just think Webber, driver of the day, personally. Summer Sport on his debut as well. You could say he deserves it just as much.
Musical say Webber or Summer.
Yeah.
The luckiest person alive, apparently, for Jake.
Spursy didn't have a penalty. So that's a glitch.
That's a glitch. So Spursy's won the race then.
So Spursy will take the win in the end. Yeah, I think that place will get handed back.
Then. I don't get that.
I think that's the same glitch that we saw between myself and Thibaut in.
Yeah, but Spursy never left the session,
in Germany.
Did he? So
that's true. Or did he leave during quali? Don't think he did.
I thought I never thought I saw Spursy get a penalty. So Spursy gets the win then. If it's by that.
Yeah, I plead with Spursy that he doesn't try and get that penalty. Well, that random in-game penalty taken off, because a 2-point gap into the final race of the season, that would be enjoyable to watch. That would be a bit of a tense fight.
So really,
it's been a
race. Spursy won the race. He gets a race winner. The guys in the chat said it was sort of disconnected from the lobby, so it must be the lobby.
So what that means, a 9-point gap plus 7 that Spursy would be gaining today sees it be 16 points. Oh no, sorry. Fastest lap from Webber as well at the end, 15 points the gap.
15 points.
So essentially, Webber has to finish at least top 3, and then have Spursy not score any points next week. And I doubt we're going to see Spursy score 0 points. It's going to be...
Well, unless he's very
lucky,
he gets absolutely wiped out at the start or something, so...
Yep.
But congratulations.
I think Spursy realistically...
Spursy
just needs to finish top 5 next week. He's won the championship, I believe.
Yeah, left side of the Delta probably got messed up by massive connection issues. It was lagging a bit.
That is true. That is very true. I don't know if you want to invite the podium sitters into the party. I'll leave you to go through the interviews.
Yeah.
But that was a bit of an interesting race, must be said.
You can say that.
I'm almost in tears for Jake.
He
He
wasn't
could have
going
won
to
the
win.
race.
I know, he
Yeah,
wasn't, I
yeah,
don't
he
think he was
was.
going to win. He did have the pace. Come on, let's be serious now. But he would have got a
He
much
was
better
the
result
fastest
than he
car on
did.
track.
One
He was
moment.
leading the race. He was the fastest car on track. That's my opinion.
Yes, but you saw how quickly they were catching him, right? So.
Yeah. I'm just hoping to see a similar sort of strategy call for Jake next week. I want to see either. Well, I want to see Jake on the podium next week. That's what I want to see.
Well, you never know. We'll see. Don't worry, you got the win. Don't worry, you got the win. The lobby went a bit laggy, so it messed up with all the delta. So. And I never
Yeah,
saw
when I
you
was
get a
going
penalty
over
on
the
the
line,
screen.
it said I was like it said I was like a tenth away from him when I was like 2 seconds off him, so I didn't know what was happening. I was hoping it would start giving me DRS, to be honest, to start pulling me along at the end because the delta was messed up, wasn't it? I don't know.
What happened with all the safety cars? Because I was cruising at the front. Oh, safety car! Oh, safety car! What?
So we're just waiting for Summer, hopefully, to join if he knows to join.
Oh, did you get on the podium? That's sweet.
I wonder if he'll be joining us.
If he knows to join.
I'll drop in an invite.
Probably message in the F3 chat, tell him to join.
He's gone offline. Last thing 2 minutes ago.
Yeah, he might have got offline then, just wait to a message and then we'll get on with it. It was definitely an interesting race. Got a bit intense in certain parts of it. Right, you can't join, so it's just going to be... So, Viper, one of us can interview one each.
I'll leave it to you. I got the pleasure of interviewing Webber in quali, so I'll leave both to you because I'm lazy.
So we're going to stick with Webber as driver of the day then.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine then. Right, so as official confirmation, Webber did finish second due to just the lobby being a bit messed up. But your race seemed to be very up and down. You had the light glitch, and you seemed to spin off a few times. And then it was quite aggressive near the end. Nearly you and somehow had an incident at the end, but then you got very close to Spursy. You couldn't get him at the end, so you get drive of the day as well. So yeah, your race was quite a roller coaster. So just tell us how your race went.
Yeah, I mean, at the start, I got a light glitch, which fucked me up massively because it sent me down to 6th from second, and I was hoping to get P up first into turn 1, so that fucked me up loads. Then I spun, I think I spun 4 times in that race by the people knocking me round, and it's just it was so annoying. I was raging so hard. And then at the end, I just went all out aggressive. I don't know what happened to the lobby when them safety cars were going on, but everyone was just I don't know. Probably Codemaster servers just being shit as usual, but everyone was just ghosting. So I just thought I'd just go through them. And then, yeah, just kept up making up positions, and then. I might have been able to have a go at Spursy going into the final chicane, but I went onto the gravel on the last lap and I just fucked myself up, so karma really.
Well, you got a tough ask for the last race. 15 points behind. Good luck you got that fastest lap, or it would have been 16. So you're going to have to win. You have to hope Spursy has a bad race. Can you win the title next week in Brazil?
If I have the pace like I had today, then definitely. But if I don't, then I don't know. I mean, I felt like I deserved to win today's race after everything just didn't really go my way. To be really
Fair
honest, I had the pace. I had the light. The light glitch just fucked me up massively. That just ruined my whole race. But it is what it is, I suppose.
Kept looking on the mini map, and you're just like, 1 minute you're at the front, and it's, oh no, you're back at the back again, and it's like, what's going on?
Yeah, I got spun around 3 times, and then I clipped the curb once myself and went off a little bit, but I probably lost about 30 seconds from just being spun around and stuff. It's just annoying, but suppose I made the right strategy to go back onto them softs because it helped me to make
Yeah,
all
so
them places.
the ghost it must have helped with that, because there's quite a few cars in the way, man.
Yeah,
Well,
I managed to get
congratulations,
around
second
to
place
it.
anyway. And we'll see if you can get the title next week. So we'll now go to the race winner. Spursy, congratulations.
Cheers.
Like Viper said, but JM kind of handed you the win after he decided to pit and retire.
I don't know what he's doing there.
We don't know why. We're still confused now until we find out.
He could have helped me out by staying ahead of Webber, but obviously not.
But you was up there for most of the race, and
Yeah.
you extended your championship lead, so it's looking good for the last race. Yeah, was you getting worried at all with Webber coming through the field and getting close on the
Well,
last lap?
first of all, Q3, I think I would have got pole, but I spun it at Spoon, which didn't really help me out. But with the lights glitch or whatever happened, it's I was back up to like P3 on the first lap, so that's positive. Yeah, I don't like to see stuff like that happen, but it is what it is. But yeah, throughout the race, it was just I don't really think I had a period where I had to proper push. I was just trying not to spin it. I knew that JM had a penalty, so it was just stay within 3 seconds and conserve P2 at the time, and then he comes in the pits and retires, and it's P1, and I don't know what's happened with the game or such, and the ghost in, but yeah, I've won the race. It's the most I can do. I can't do much more than to win the race. So I guess
So
it
you're
goes
gonna
to
be
next week.
So are you going to be feeling the pressure next week at Brazil?
Yeah.
Are you going to be able to do it? Are you going to be able to become the F3 champion?
Well, that's the goal. I mean, I thought I had it done halfway through this race because P1, Webber's down in what, P10. It's just like, surely. And then
I was down in P14 at one point.
safety car. I think there's one safety car too many for my championship. I think without the safety cars, I might have brought it home today, but that's how it is, I suppose.
No, congratulations on your win. And we'll see. Well, we'll see whoever becomes the champion next week. Anything can happen. Spursy could get absolutely annihilated in turn one. Do a Vettel in Brazil in real life. You could do a
Hope not.
comeback, or anything can happen. But Viper, have you got anything to add before we finish?
No, not really. To be honest, no. I think that kind of wraps it all up. To be honest.
Well, thank you all guys for watching the F3. We've got one more race tomorrow, and that's for the F2. And then, can't believe it, we have the final week of the season before we move on to F1 2020. So if you haven't signed up already, please make sure you do. And yeah, we'll see you all next week for the title decider at Brazil.
Right. Adios.